Hey there, church. Pastor Chris here. Hey, we are nearing the end of our kids' camp that's been going on this week. Big and Bold Faith. And what you're seeing right behind us is our cooking class that's getting wrapped up. If you didn't know what our camp is about, basically what we do is we take time to really invest in kiddos getting to know who they are, how they're wired, how they're gifted, how the Lord has put different skills within them. So we have various treks like music, we've got stage crew, we've got sewing that's going on, we've even got carpentry and music. We've got AV, dancing, art, so many things just for our kids to be able to take time to discover and really invest in how God has wired them and what skills and what interests He's put in there. You know, why are those things important? Well, I think ultimately, as we really impress upon our kiddos, is to realize that God has designed all of us for serving His kingdom. Now, He may have given us different skills and different interests, but these are all for the goal of serving His kingdom and ultimately expanding that kingdom, advancing His kingdom as His believers. So in addition to this, our kiddos have been learning specifically about the story of Daniel. And in that story, we've been talking about how Daniel and his friends, even when they're put into specific circumstances that they wouldn't prefer, let's say. I would say I wouldn't want to be in a fiery furnace. I wouldn't want to be put in a place in which I had to eat what I wasn't supposed to eat or thrown in the lion's den for following what God had told me to do. But in those times, to have big and bold faith. And the reality is, in the time in which we live, I think that message is still the same. God calls us to have big and bold faith. Specifically, whenever we're in a world that is calling us to follow our own desires, the desires of flesh, or to follow the crowd, whatever it may be, that God is calling us to have big and bold faith. We're also looking at this on Sunday mornings with the story of Joshua. You know, as we began our series of being strong and courageous, that being the call that God has placed in our lives. We actually finished that series this Sunday. And so what's wonderful as I'm looking at this is I see the theme that God is really pouring out to us as a church, recognizing that in such a time as this, God is calling us to be bold, to be strong, to be courageous, to know that He has designed us, He has wired us, that He's placed us in our lives in such a time as this. And so church, whatever you're going through, whatever situation you might find yourself in, I want you to receive that encouragement. Know that God has equipped you for such a time as this. This is something we're instilling with our kiddos, but I tell you what, that's a really good word for us as adults as well. So I pray that you're encouraged by that. And I want to invite you this weekend. If you have an opportunity on Saturday at 2:00, come check out the showcase that our kiddos are putting on. They're going to be putting on a performance that involves our dance class, our music class, our stage crew, our AV crew, our art crew. Everybody's involved, as well as a showcase for all the different skills they've been working on. And then on Sunday, we're going to finish up our series in Joshua, Courage Over Fear. It's a great weekend to be a part of Lakeshore, and I want to encourage you to be a part of it. Love you, church, and I hope to see you soon.